that happens. Now, once you agree on these two, you get engaged. That's it. What else do you need? Okay? And you start talking about the last phase is the details. It's not tying the knot. It's not marriage right away, but it's engagement. Now, I'll tell you why I believe that engagement is something important. Because when you talk about this last thing, is like now we're talking about the fine details. So when, right? When would this marriage actually take place? Okay, now we're talking about the immediate details. Well, I'm graduating. I got an internship, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. You talk the details, and then you set a plan for when the marriage takes place. And the first thing is you said is an engagement. Now, is it engagement? Some people have this misnomer that it's not allowed in Islam. Well, that's not true. That's not the case, right? If it's not allowed in Islam, how does the Prophet ﷺ spoke about that you do not do khitbah upon the khitbah of akhik. La yakhtub ahadukum ala khitbati akhi. That means when two people are very close to marriage to the point that they have agreed to marry, but they're not married yet. No one just says, okay, let's agree to marry and then marry right away. There has to be a lag time, right? Like we agree to marry, okay, when are we going to actually get married? That's engagement. So you've agreed to marry. So now nobody can come in. It's haram for someone to swoop in, even when they're getting close in their talks. It's haram for somebody to swoop in, okay, and steal the wife. So this issue of engagement also occurred with Sayyidina Ali and Sayyidah Fatima. So there was talk about marriage, and then they were engaged for about a year until the marriage actually occurred afterwards. So it's precedented and it's permitted. Engagement is precedented and permitted. And all it is an agreement that we will marry at a later date. And that way that removes her from receiving other proposals. Okay. So now, when you agree on an engagement, we now ask what is the function of this engagement and what do people do? Well, by the Sharia, nothing changes in an engagement. When two people get engaged, there's nothing different about them in the Sharia. So they still can't be alone with each other or be touching each other. So the function of this engagement is now you start having more meetings with the families, maybe even some extended families, and you have multiple meetings. And layers of the onion start coming off. Now you start to get a very good idea of what this family is like. Most people marry into families, right? Very rarely is someone just by himself. You're just always connected with people. Like no one comes out of nowhere. So you start getting to know the extra connections. Maybe in the beginning, you're only getting to know the families, right? Family, by the way, getting to know the family is also part of your vision and your mission, in the sense that there may be a non-negotiable with the family. Like I'm not going to marry someone whose dad is an avid devil worshiper, right? Or an avowed, Satanist. I don't care what he is. I'm not getting involved with that family. Period. Discussion over. If I may meet the perfect person, but I realize that their mom has a jinn, and she whoops and whelps, this is over. It's done with, right? I don't care who you are. There's non-negotiables. There's certain things I don't get involved in my life with. Okay? May Allah protect us from all that stuff. But that's the idea. That the idea of the essential family, the mom, dad, maybe even brother and sister, okay, is part of each of these discussions. And so the engagement, you start peeling off the onions by having family visits, group visits, more visits. So one of the functions of this, and it's not to be pessimistic, is that people always hide stuff. People hide stuff. Everyone hides something. Nobody's perfect. And we should be hiding our sins. But sometimes maybe a temper will come out. Stinginess will come out. And something could grow. If an engagement is 9 months, let's say, it can grow. Like equality, like he was at the restaurant, he's like looking at the bill, right? Then he's like asking me to split it. Then the next time around, we ordered a rack of lamb, and he got upset because it's expensive. And every time we look at something, $45, and this stinginess, right, comes out. It comes out in social gatherings when you keep meeting. And it's not just stinginess, it's other things, right? Other things about their past may have just pop out, right? You give time for Allah to reveal things. And that's really what happens. Just by having regular meetings, your family goes to visit them, their family goes to visit you, right? You go out to eat, okay? And you start discovering things about each other. 9 months, you can't fake 9 months, right? Your truth will come out eventually. And that's the function and purpose of an engagement. Okay, let's take a look at what some of the other pointers here that we wanted to discuss.